Welcome to this edition of Inside the Humidor. I'm Ed Brandyberry with Josh Mills, our guest, Adam Shepard. We're going to be talking about cigars and pipes today. We'll even have a demonstration on the proper way to pack your pipe. But we want you to know that we have a full assortment of pipes here at the smokestack, ranging from basket pipes that will run at about $29.95 all the way up to some split beard pipes that are close to $200, and everything in between, including something that your company has come up with, which is a nice starter kit, which you can get everything you need to start smoking a pipe for under $70. So sit back and enjoy the show. Welcome to this episode of Inside the Humidor. I'm Ed Brandyberry with Josh Mills and our guest today, Adam Shepard. We thank you for tuning in. We're going to talk about both cigars and pipes. As part of the show, we'll also demonstrate the proper way, or at least Adam will, the proper way to pack a pipe.
We hope.
We hope. Is that it? We hope. And right now, we're smoking Psycho 7, is that right?
Yes.
And this is a Psycho 7 in the Maduro. There's also a natural version. Can you tell us a little bit about Psycho 7? And
Sure. Well, I work for a company called Phillips and King, and about 3 years ago we launched a premium cigar division, our own line of cigars called Ventura Cigar Company. And we launched the Psycho 7 line. It'll be 2 years ago in July. Mm-hmm. We launched this at last year's IPCPR, our industry trade show. Both the natural and the Maduro are produced for us by Davidoff.
Okay.
They are blended by Henke Kellner, who does all of Davidoff's white label blends. And as you all know out there, Davidoff is sort of one of the Cadillac of cigar brands.
Right.
It's 7 different tobaccos in each cigar. The cigar that we're smoking today, hence the 7. And the cigar that we're smoking today has a Mexican San Andreas wrapper, a Ecuadorian 151 binder, which is the same binder used on the Davidoff Millennium. Also, the filler is Dominican, Nicaraguan, Honduran, Peruvian, and Pennsylvania Ligeros. So there is some Pennsylvania tobacco in that cigar as well. It's a medium-bodied Maduro. It's not overpowering, but it's got a lot of nice flavor, and with all those different tobaccos in there, it's very complex. And we just got a 90 rating that Josh is smoking is a 6x60. That received a 90 rating in the most recent issue of Cigar Aficionado, which is the top-rated cigar in that category.
So, yeah, that's right.
And we're really pleased with the foothold that we've got here, particularly in the Pittsburgh market. And you all have been very supportive of us here at the Smokestack, and we're proud to be on your shelves. And I'm happy to be here today.
Yeah, well, we're glad to have you, Adam. The cigar comes with a little oversized overlay here on the cigar that actually will tell you about the cigar's blend. And it lists all these tobaccos, and just as Adam said, we have some Pennsylvania broadleaf here, most likely from Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, which is our big agricultural area for growing tobacco. So,
one note about the band, if you look at it, the slogan for the cigar, and the marketing people of the company did a fantastic job on this, but the slogan is "Medicate Your Mind." And if you look at the band, it's actually a mock prescription. And on the bottom of each band, it'll tell you the doctor that prescribed it. Well, the inside joke is that's each doctor, their company nickname. And so if you see Dr. Socks on there, it's me, and the joke is I don't wear them, so that's my company nickname.
Okay.
Dr. Socks. Noted.
I hate socks. Useless.
Well, that's fine. We don't want to know what else you don't wear. So. we have had a great long relationship between your company here at the Smokestack, probably since the beginning of the store. And now that we're taking on Psycho 7, that just adds, I think, to the relationship.
Well, it's certainly a different component. You in the past have carried Cuban Rounds and Cuban Rejects. I know you've done some good business on the bundle front with us. You also order vape through us, which is an exploding market. And a lot of the Dejar clove cigars, which is one of the mainstays at my company, and also pipe tobaccos. That's something you all have really expanded here at the shop as well.
Right. And today we have you actually want to pipe be your first love over cigars?
I love tobacco. If it has nicotine, I love it.
Okay, that's fair.
Although I did quit cigarettes, so, which is,
Well,
no mean feat.
No mean feat, no. Now, did you need to use a vape to do it, or did
No, I used, my pipes really helped out, and so did the cigars.
All right, good. Well, Josh, you have any questions for Adam right now?
Yeah, I think most of my questions are going to be in the pipe tobacco realm because I'm much less well acquainted in that than I am cigars. One of the questions I had is you hear the different categories of pipe tobacco and what those mean. I've heard about 1,000 different definitions for English and aromatic and stuff. Like, how do you break it down? What are the overarching?
Well, there are
categories?
three. Not to get too detailed, but there are three basic categories of pipe tobacco.
Okay.
There are aromatics, which is what most of us here in America equate to pipe tobacco. Those are cherries, apples, peach, the flavored tobaccos. When you walk down the street and you're smoking a pipe and someone says, "Oh, that smells so good," well, that's probably what they're commenting on, are those aromatic tobaccos. And it's a process where they take the tobacco, they cut it into ribbons in most cases, and then they take the tobacco and they use a process called casing, which means they basically just put flavoring over the tobacco.
Okay.
Yeah. There are English blends. English blends are generally a non-aromatic tobacco that have a tobacco called Latakia in it. And Latakia is produced or grown in Cyprus and Syria. Most of it is that we have in our blends here are from Cyprus. It's a tobacco that's pungent, smoky, maybe a touch spicy, and it has a base of Virginia tobacco as well.
Okay.
Then there are also what are called Virginias or matured Virginias. Those are tobaccos where you take different strains of tobacco, not necessarily from Virginia, but North Carolina, that sort of that part of the country where I'm from, and you take the different strains of tobacco, you put them into bricks, press them together, and then you cut them into slices. Most of the time you rub the tobacco out. They tend to be naturally sweet. They're high in natural sugar content. They're meant to smoke very slowly, and they're very, very good. If you're a cigar person, I always tell a cigar smoker who wants to get into smoking pipes that if you're used to a cigar, you're used to smoking natural tobacco, non-flavored tobacco. Right. Englishes and Virginias are good to get into because those are, for the most part, non-cased, non-aromatic tobaccos, and the character of a matured Virginia will change character as it goes down the bowl, much like a cigar will.
I've noticed in some of the different descriptions of some tobaccos that as people are experimenting with different combinations or blends with combining different tobaccos, that seems also be happening now in the pipe world also. I've noticed a few what I would have considered aromatics having a little dash of Latakia in them.
Oh yeah, you're seeing that a lot with some companies, that they'll take an English blend, and it's sort of a good transition, but for someone who wants to move from an aromatic into an English, it'll still have a bit of Cavendish in there, and then a touch of Latakia. There's also a tobacco called Perique. Perique
Right.
is grown in one parish in Louisiana, which are what they call counties in Louisiana, and it's the St. James Parish. It's a fermented tobacco. You cannot smoke it on its own. It's really strong.
It's a blending component only.
It is a condimental tobacco, and you smoke it. You add it to blends rather. It gives it kind of a little spicy zestiness.
All right.
There's some very good Perique blends out there.
And Perique could be found in any of those groups.
Perique can be found in any of those groups, but for the most part, it's found in Englishes and mature Virginias.
Okay.
Not very much in aromatics.
Right, because that'd sort of counter.
It's a more expensive tobacco as well.
Okay.
You
all
find
right.
it in a lot of tinned blends that Dunhill does, or we do some Perique in our Camoy line that
All
we
right.
have. So McClellan does a lot with Perique
With
as well.
Perique also, yes. We have a lot of people that come into the shop and they want to know about the best way to get started with a pipe.
Well, boy, do I have something for you.
Yeah, I'll bet you do.
And
really a
they
bad
have something
infomercial.
for you, viewer, here in the store. So at our company, we noticed a lot of young people, particularly, were coming in, and they want to learn how to smoke a pipe. We don't know what the science is behind this, but they're really interested in pipe smoking. And they're 20, 22, 25 years old. And, there are different components of pipe smoking. And we put them all into one package, which you all carry here. This is called it's a premium pipe starter kit. And it comes with a nice quality pipe to start out with, a tin of tobacco. This is the smooth finish pipe. So this has the 4th generation tobacco.
Right.
4th generation refers to Eric Stokeby, who works for us. He's a 4th generation tobacconist from
Right.
Denmark. And this is a blackberry flavor. It's really good aromatic tobacco. It also comes with the leather pouch, pipe cleaners, and a pipe tool as well. And it's a great way to get started. It's sort of no fuss, no muss, and it's a good way to learn about it. And on the back, you also have it's a 5-step key on how to get started, how to pack the bowl, how to light the
So
bowl,
they
all
don't
of
just
that.
you don't just get a box.
You don't
when
just
you
get a
one
box.
of these.
Yeah.
You get some
You
instruction.
get some instruction and all of that, and
it really has whatever you need to.
it really has whatever you need
Be
to get
started.
started.
Yeah.
And it's a great way to start and then build a collection, because one of the part of the great fun of this is kind of becoming a collector and building your collection up.
I've talked to guys who, we had a fellow in the shop one evening that explained that what he thinks is a minimum for owning pipes, depending on what type of tobaccos you smoke, that he likes to have enough pipes so that he can rest his pipes for 72 hours or 48 hours.
I tend to rest mine for about 72. I have enough. I tend to smoke 3 different pipes a day and have enough that I can let them rest. Now, no one's saying that a 22-year-old guy or girl is
Has the money to-
has the money to do that or the interest yet to do it. But as you go along, I think it's always good to have 3 pipes because it lets you dry out the pipes.
Right. And then if you are switching families of tobacco, you're usually going to need
That's another thing.
additional pipes, right?
I wouldn't want to, if I've been smoking a heavy aromatic like with BCA or something like that, I wouldn't want to smoke an English in it.
Sorry. What you won't get from me.
Yeah. This is fun, by the way.
You have some questions for him while I put him to work? Because I think it'd be good if you showed us
Little demonstration,
the proper way
Yeah, sure, I'd be happy to.
to pack a pipe.
And this is actually, once you do this a few times, it's very, very easy. Pipe, tobacco. So the easiest way to pack a pipe, I kind of think of it in 3s. The first pinch should be the loosest, and you just gently put that into the pipe down there. The next pinch should be a little bit firmer and a little bit larger pinch of tobacco. Like that. And then the third should be the biggest and the tightest. You just put that in like that. Now, the important thing about this is you don't want to pack it too loose and you don't want to pack it too tight. Either way will lead to a pipe smoking too hot, which can burn your tongue, and over time it can also cause the bowl of the pipe to burn out, which should never happen on a briar. I mean, burnouts are very, very rare, but they do occur, but not very often at all.
Now, when you say briar, what do you mean? Can you talk a little bit about some of the materials used?
Some of the materials used, most pipes are made of briar, which is a chunk of a bush called the heath tree, and it comes mainly from the Mediterranean. Greece is one of the primary spots for getting briar.
Okay.
The older the briar, generally the lighter, the more porous it is, the cooler it's going to smoke. And
usually
the more
also
expensive, the more
pipe.
expensive it is going to be. The bit or the stem of the pipe is usually made of either one of two materials, one being vulcanite, which is a hard rubber, the other one being lucite, which is a real hard plastic.
Okay.
They both have their advantages and disadvantages. A vulcanite stem is a little softer on the teeth, but it can oxidize over time and you have to clean it. Lucite doesn't oxidize, but it's a little less forgiving on the teeth.
Okay.
Also, pipes come in bent and straight stems as well.
Smooth and rustic.
Smooth and rusticated. And in those cases, it's preference, really, quite frankly. I like sandblast, but a lot of people like smooth, so it's your choice of what you like.
Right.
If you like it, it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks.
Yeah.
And there's one other material. There happened to be a gentleman here smoking a meerschaum pipe, and meerschaum is mined in Turkey. Meerschaum is German for sea foam, and it's a material called magnesium silicate. It generally smokes very, very cool. You don't have to break the pipe in. Unlike briar, where you do have to break it in. It takes a little while for it to really get that sweet spot and to build up something called a cake. And the cake is this ring of carbon that forms around the bowl, and you don't want it to be any thicker than about the thickness of a dime, maybe a nickel. And it helps the pipe from burning out, and it also imparts the tobacco taste to the pipe. Meerschaums are really neat because if you smoke them long enough over time, they'll turn this really, really deep chocolate brown. It takes a long time to do it, but it's really a neat pipe, and they're good smokers. And this is a really pretty example. And the reason why I held it by the stem is because the oils in your fingers can affect the coloration of the bowl on a meerschaum.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, meerschaum pipes are they usually more expensive than briar?
Meerschaums typically do not run as expensive as briars. Briar pipes run anywhere from $25 to up into the thousands. Meerschaums typically, you don't see very many go past 200. Most are in the 70
Well, I noticed his
to
had some
200.
artisan carving work there. Does that
That is
something
very
like
popular on meerschaums, is artisan carving. Meerschaums are neat pipes.
Yes,
They're really fun to get into.
Now there's the movies, The Lord of the Rings, made a particular type of pipe very popular.
Right. There's a pipe called a church warden.
Yes.
And we sell a lot of church wardens at my company. They are long bent stems, although they do make some in straight, but the most popular that you see in the movies are the long bent stems with smaller bowls.
Yes.
And they are extraordinarily popular. In fact, the fourth generation, we also have a line of pipes that are fourth generation stamped, made for us by Peter Nerup, who's a famed Danish carver, and we're coming out with a church warden at the trade show this summer. So it's going to be
Very
a
nice.
very, very
Very
good
nice.
quality church warden.
Very cool.
Do you have some more questions for?
Yeah, I did.
Yes.
So there's a term that is thrown around in shops a lot. It's basket pipes, and a lot of times I've been told that they don't use briar. They'll use a kind of hardwood, or do they still use briar often?
Some use a cheaper wood, and
Okay.
some still use briar. The difference between a basket pipe and something like you would get in say a higher grade pipe is that they often have putty fills in them. You know, that they filled in with putty to
Okay.
to mask a pit or something like that. The main thing when you're buying a pipe is, if you're starting out, you're not going to want to spend $300 because what if you don't like it? But if you go and you spend $45, $50, maybe a little bit less, maybe a little bit more, make sure that the bowl has a lot of grain coverage on it, that there's no bald spots or anything like that. That's the number one key. Make sure that it's comfortable when you put it when you try it out, that it fits good in the hand, that it's comfortable in the mouth, that it's not too heavy, and you should have a good piece to start out with.
I found when I used to smoke a pipe about longer than what you guys are old ago. I found, of course, that having a sales job, it was difficult for me to keep a pipe going in a car when I'm going from one town to the next and things like that. And that's how I ended up smoking cigars. But you still occasionally smoke a pipe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would start off as a cigar smoker, and since we have the stuff, I figured I'd try it out, and really enjoyed myself. But I found I had got the most enjoyment out of the English blends, because I'm used to the absolute flavor punch that a cigar is.
I prefer English blends too. It just depends on what it's just like with cigars. Some people like a milder cigar. Some people like a stronger cigar. Everyone should like Psycho 7.
There you go.
But no, I'm kidding about that. Not really.
Well, no, it's a very good cigar.
It's all up to your personal preference.
I will say, for those of you that like a peaty Scotch, that I'm smoking the Psycho 7 Maduro and sipping on occasion Lefroy 10-year is a wonderful pairing. You don't have either one trying to knock the other one off while you're enjoying them. It really is. It brings out some
They
nice...
complement each other.
Yeah, they do. And I think that's what a good pairing is. Do pipe smokers enter into that same pairing field? I noticed some guys here that have occasionally enjoyed a port or a wine with their pipe.
I think that's certainly the case. I'm by no means a spirits aficionado, so I'm kind of a redneck Budweiser drinker, I guess.
One of those kinds.
I have a friend though
The
that's
descent of the lounge.
I have a friend though that's getting me into some of these sour ales and farmhouses and things like that. They're
Right,
wonderful.
right. Yeah, they are. We have a lot of different people who come into our lounge and enjoy it, and it's surprising the variety of spirits that appear on our counters or in front of our
And
customers.
personalities. There is no better place to meet a friend than a cigar shop
Yeah,
Absolutely.
or a pipe shop.
yeah, yeah.
You meet people, all sorts of people, on absolutely equal terms. There's
Yes,
no
it
better
is.
place, and this is one of the best places in Pittsburgh to come. I like coming here a lot.
Appreciate
Well,
I
thank
like
you.
your crowd here.
Thank you. Thank you.
I had a question for you. There's a trend right now in the cigar industry with the Kentucky Fire Cured tobaccos. Are you well acquainted with those, or do you know much about the process?
That's probably something you would want to ask Sam Smirkle.
Sam Smirkle.
With Drew Estates, since that's really their hallmark. I don't want
Yeah.
to speak out of class on that.
Well, I didn't know if they say that it's supposed to be like a pipe tobacco that they're using. So is Kentucky Fire
Well,
Cured something that's also used in pipes?
As I understand, they're using burley tobacco in that. Burley is a tobacco that is grown in Kentucky and Tennessee. I should tell you that also there are a couple of different types of tobaccos that we use in pipe blends. Flue cured tobaccos, which are cured with direct heat and curing barns.
Mm-hmm.
They're sweeter tobaccos.
Brings out the sugars.
Brings
and
out the
leaf.
sugars in the leaf and all of that. The tobaccos that are grown in Tennessee, Kentucky, Western North Carolina, Western Virginia, that's what's called burley. Burley is a tobacco that it tends to cool a blend a little bit,
All right.
even it out a little bit. Those are cured by just taking the whole plant, cutting the whole plant and air curing it.
So
in the
they
barn.
stalk cut.
They stalk cut those.
All right.
And I believe that's what they're using in
Yes.
the. But so far as the process and all of that, I'm not really
Not
sure
sure.
what they do in that cigar. I've smoked it. It's a really good cigar.
Yeah, they,
Okay, so you do like it then? As a,
I do like it.
does it appeal to you as a cigar smoker or as a pipe smoker more? Is it something familiar in pipe, or do you think it's a
I
good
think
hybrid?
it appeals to me. I think that it's a great concept that appeals to me more as a cigar smoker.
Okay. Yeah. I was just curious on your thoughts on that as our
Yeah.
yeah.
resident pipe expert.
I'll tell you one thing about cigars. This is truly, whether Cuban cigars come over here or not, and we don't know what's going to happen because Congress has to deal with that trade embargo issue.
Right.
That can't be done with the stroke of a pen. But this is a golden age for cigar people.
Absolutely.
You've got the bigger companies like General and Altadis who are coming out with fantastic new blends, and the boutique people are doing some really, really good stuff.
Yeah, they are.
The variety of cigars, the blends, the experimentation that's going on, it's like nothing I've
Quality
seen.
of tobacco.
The quality of tobacco,
Yeah. The attention it's made nowadays to
Yeah.
construction.
yeah.
Is
It's better than I've smoked cigars for 20 years now. I started on my 18th birthday, and I think the quality now is better than it's ever been.
We
He
had a,
is younger than how long it's been since I.
we had a somewhat of a debate a couple weeks ago about what constitutes a boutique brand, and your brand was the Psycho was something that came to mind because the Virginia company is certainly a new company, but also rolled by Davidoff, a member of the Phillips and King family.
Right.
So it's hard to think of you guys as boutique, but still with only one line.
But as far as their cigar lines go, they have
No,
more than one.
we
They
have more than one. We also have a cigar called Project 805
Right, right.
that's made for us by La Aurora. That's an interesting cigar because it has a tobacco called Andullo in it. And Andullo is not a type of tobacco, but a process. They grow it in the Dominican Republic, and they bunch it in these palm leaf husks that are about 6 feet tall for 2 years. And it comes out in just this torpedo of tobacco that's as hard as this table. And for 500 years, they've carved pipes out of that spear of tobacco, and then they smoke the tobacco inside it. Well, the blenders down there knew about the tobacco, and they started playing around with it in blends. And it uses just one little sliver in each cigar. It's all it needs.
Yeah.
It's just one little bit.
Nice, strong.
And again, it's like Perique. It's a condimental tobacco.
Right.
It's meant to complement a blend. It's meant to enhance it, and it gives it this little
You're not
zesty.
going to find it on the wrapper.
No, you're not going to find it on the wrapper. The wrapper on that is a Dominican Corojo.
Okay.
What was the name of that process again?
Andullo.
Andullo. I've never heard of that. That's very interesting.
Yeah. It's done very well. That was also, we've received great, all of our cigars are very highly rated at Ventura.
They are.
We've been very lucky, but, well, not lucky. We put out a good product, a very good product.
I think that's something that your company is to be complimented on, because the distribution side of your company could take the temptation to let's just make a cheap cigar to get out there in people's hands that we can make a lot of money on. Instead, they've made cigars that they want people to truly enjoy and return for because of the quality rather than just a price segment.
I think that we're lucky in that, did that mean 3 minutes?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
That's the signal.
I'm getting used to this showbiz stuff. I think that we are lucky at Phillips and King when it comes to the Ventura line because we have such outstanding relationships. We can enlist a La Aurora or a Plasencia or a Henke Kellner to blend our cigars.
Right.
So we truly have a commitment to quality on that. And I'm really, really proud to be associated with them.
Well, your company's to be commended on that because, and also in the pipe end that you've now have fourth generation
We have fourth
Stokkebye.
generation. We rejuvenated the Kamoy line, which is an old English maker, and we're really happy about that.
Oh, great.
Well, as a closing thought, Adam, if there's somebody out there that caught the show tonight that has a newfound interest in pipe tobacco, is there anything you'd like to say to them to maybe convince them to jump in on the hobby?
You've got a lot of different flavors to explore. You've got a lot of pipes that you can look at, finishes, shapes, all of that. Plenty of reading online. These guys down here at Smokestack can help you out, and I think that it's a great hobby. I think it's something that people out there, if they get into it, they will really enjoy.
All right, well, thank you. And thank you, everyone, today for enjoying this segment of Inside the Humidor. Just remember what Josh always says. Go out there and burn one. Thank you for enjoying this segment of Inside the Humidor with Josh Mills and Adam Shepard. We want to thank you. If you have any questions, I want to remind you, you can reach us at info@smokestackpgh.com. You can also reach us at 412-375-7627 and talk to someone here. If you have a question, we'd be glad to hear it. If you have some opinions about the show, we'd be glad to hear about those too. And any other questions about pipes or cigars, please keep in touch with us. And come in sometime and visit one of the finest lounges in Pittsburgh.